Thank you. I'm very proud to be here with such a distinguished panel. And today, as we speak about Ashcroft and we talk about Camp Liberty, really talking about families, members of your family and our family. I say that because it is important. Not only the Iranian community, but others leaders, not only nationally, but I come with a different perspective. From all of you around the country, go back to your communities and talk about what is happening at Camp Ashcroft and Liberty. Talk to the people. Talk to your mayor, city council members, county officials, the governors. Talk to them so we can get. Washington is hard to move, but people can move Washington. And that's what the message is today. We in America are not as educated about world history. And we should be, because in order to understand American history, you have to understand world history. And unfortunately, as Alan pointed out, we're repeating the mistakes of the past. And that's why it is important, as you come together, that you tell the story continually in your communities, from every ethnic and racial group. Because if you don't, this story will only be isolated only to the Iranian community. It is a story to be told not only in the United States, but throughout the world. And that's why it's important. As we move forward to the U.S. Mayor's Conference and coming in June, is pass a resolution there on behalf of Camp Ashcroft and Camp Liberty. And again, educate more Americans about the injustice that is taking place right here in the world. And to me, and that's why I'm here today, on behalf of a city that understands the world, understands what immigrants are all about, but most importantly, appreciates the Persian culture, appreciate their civilization, and the Iranian community, what they've done for America, that we can do, again, speaking out on behalf of the lost souls at Camp Ashcroft and Camp Liberty. Thank you very much.
Let me thank Congressman Tancredo for his generous introduction. Our swords are pointed in the same direction today. And what those swords are pointed at is the gross injustice of the very existence of the regime of the mullahs and the ayatollahs, which subjugated an entire people. And they will be gone, and we have to do something about it now. Now, so we've talked about the Arab Spring. We need an Iranian Spring. There was an Iranian Spring, and it was repressed by the mullahs and the ayatollahs. And we need to support justice everywhere because, as you know, if there's injustice anywhere, then there's injustice for all of us. The United States has a responsibility. We can complain about Maliki and we complain about the Ayatollahs all we want. The United States of America has the ultimate responsibility for the safety of the people in Ashraf, and each one of the people in Ashraf has that in writing, signed by the senior commander of the United States Armed Forces. The fact of the matter is that this is not simply a battle to save the lives of 3,400 unarmed civilians who find themselves stuck in an increasingly less democratic Iraq. This is a battle about what kind of country the United States of America is. If a country seeks to set an example in human rights and freedom and democracy, then that country has a higher standard than the Ayatollahs and Prime Minister Maliki. And we seek to set that example. And so we will be judged not on how dirty Camp Liberty is, not on what the Ayatollah said and what Maliki did. We will simply be judged on this criteria. A single life lost from one of the unarmed civilians in Ashraf that we have sworn to protect is a black mark against the legacy of the United States of America, and we are responsible for that. Now, so we have transferred 400 people from Ashraf to Liberty, which, as you see, was not as it was told. We were lied to. Let's not be mince words. We were flatly lied to. And I agree that we need to find out who did tell us that lie. But whatever we do, in finding out who told us the lie must not delay for one moment the progress that we need to make. The pressure is enormous now on the government of the United States of America to remove the people from liberty and send them to the West where they'll be safe. The fact is that there have been deliberations about whether we should bring 400 more people. Well, not only are the conditions outrageous, but the fact is there isn't room for 400 more people in Camp Liberty right now. So the United States government must remove the people from Camp Liberty, send them to Western places that'll take the refugees before we transfer the next 400, because there simply is not an ability in Camp Liberty to put up with 400 more people in those quarters. You know the story. In 2003, and in exchange for that disarmament, we gave every single one of them a written pledge that said we would defend them. We broke that pledge in 2009, and we abdicated our responsibility in 2011. 47 people were murdered in cold blood by Maliki, the mass murderer. But that's not all. After we took control of Camp Ashraf, and there are many upstanding military people who are trying as hard as we all are to make sure that this has a happy ending. After we took control, the Federal Bureau of Investigation Counterterrorism came to Ashraf and screened every single resident. And not one resident of Ashraf was found to have either connections with terrorism or to have participated in a terrorist act. There is no justification for the MEK to be on the terrorist list in the United States. And the District Court of Appeals has said so. They have said over a year and a half ago that there was no due process in listing the MEK and that the process must be reevaluated. The State Department has refused to comply with the lawful order of the court. This is an affront to what we do every day when we are trying to spread democracy. We talk about, I just got back from Moldova, where there is an attempt now to create a democratic government, and we're making some progress. Do you know how difficult it is for me to explain to them that they need to apply the rule of law when the State Department of the United States of America is failing to apply the rule of law? A few weeks ago, I spoke to a group in New York, and I talked about competence, ethics, and morality. The competence, the ethics, and the morality of the United States government are on the line. The people from Ashraf have done what they have been asked to do. They have moved out of their home of 25 years, essentially into a prison which would not meet the standards of any institution, even in the United States of America or anywhere else. And they have not met United Nations standards. We were lied to when we were told that that was the case. So the 400 civilians who are in Camp Liberty are now waiting, and the clock is ticking. And it is the United States government's responsibility to make sure that not one life is lost.